Hello everyone, my name is Dominic Damore, and thank you for tuning in to the second, most likely third, because I did the show by myself on Wednesday, best thing you've heard all week. We have a great show for you today that includes some of the latest film news, along with our assorted thoughts and opinions, ranging from insightful to downright obnoxious. This is the I've Had Better Movies podcast. Let's kick it off. He's back, the man, the myth, the legend, James Langos. What's our first story of the week?
All right, to start off, we've got a good one. At least I think so. Dom's not so much all in on it yet, but he will be. Give it time. The first story is the Inferno trailer dropped, and the Inferno is the fourth Dan Brown book featuring Robert Langdon, but is going to be the third movie. I don't know why they decided not to make a movie about the lost symbol. Who knows?
Maybe they felt it was too Nick Cagey.
Probably.
Yeah.
Because it basically is very, very similar.
They did not want to cross in that National Treasure area.
Yeah, that's a good point. So the trailer starts off with Robert Langdon in trouble once again, and I don't really know how I feel about it.
Yeah. Personally, I didn't hate the Da Vinci Code. I thought it was fine. I thought it was a good movie. It was fun for what it was. Angels and Demons, that is a book that I actually read and thus didn't like the movie.
I also read.
Yeah. I'm fairly certain even if I would have never read the book, I still wouldn't have really loved the movie because it wasn't that good of a movie. I think it was definitely a step back from the Da Vinci Code and started to go on some of those things where in the book, these movies really work. But my biggest gripe about the Inferno trailer is it loses that sense of realism because now you have this old-ass Tom Hanks in this situation again, so he's basically now a superhero. And obviously with most movies you have to have that suspension of belief, but in this film where it's so based on theory and basically that Robert Langdon is a superhero.
Yeah, I mean, I'd go more like a history Jason Bourne, which is just unheard of.
Yeah, I get that. But I mean, it's like Indiana Jones or Jason Bourne. They're kind of superheroes in their own right. Matt Damon has said over the past couple of years when people ask him when he's going to do a superhero film, he's like, well, I already have Jason Bourne. He's basically a superhero. So
That's true. It's a good point. Ron Howard is directing, though.
Yeah.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't know. Because obviously Ron Howard's great. He's probably one of the best directors in Hollywood, but he hasn't had a hit in a while. You and I both saw Into the Sea, or In the Heart of the Sea, together. And it was a good movie. It wasn't great. It wasn't by any means a blockbuster, and it was actually kind of a flop at the theaters, but I liked it. The last great movie he did was Rush from a few years ago, and I honestly wonder if he does these films just as a palate cleanser, knowing these are basically my throwaway movies. I can do whatever I want on these and go crazy. Hearing Ron Howard's attack does nothing for me because he did the first two, and the first two I didn't really like.
I thought the Da Vinci Code was better directed than Angels and Demons. There was too much CGI in Angels and Demons, and it just didn't work for me.
That makes sense. One thing I am excited, though, about is Felicity Jones being in this film.
Yeah, good stuff. It'd be nice to see her get some real screen time before Rogue One comes out.
Yeah. All right, so that was our first trailer discussion of the day. Let us know what you guys thought about Inferno. You can head to www.ihbpodcast.com and either send us a note on there, or you can contact us on social media. We will give out our Twitter and our Facebook shortly. The next trailer we're going to talk about is the much-anticipated Assassin's Creed. This film stars Michael Fassbender, Marion Cotillard, and is directed by
Justin Cruzel.
Yes, he did Macbeth, and big time fan of Fassbender. They've worked together on a couple of films now. So I said at the beginning, this is a much anticipated film. It looked to me like a cross between 300 and The Matrix.
Yeah, definitely looks really cool. I played a little bit of the video game, not so much. I was more of a Call of Duty fan, but the video game was fun and it was visually stunning for its time too.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just noticed Ariane Labed.
Mm-hmm.
She's born in Athens, fellow Greek.
Is she really?
Yeah.
Which leads me into my point. I thought she was the coolest part of the trailer.
I agree.
She's the badass assassin woman who, like, does some major stunts and really kicks ass. I thought she was better than Fassbender in it.
Yeah.
Granted, it was a small Snapchat. Yeah, that too.
Small snippet of a trailer.
There we go. Those are the words I'm going for. What'd you think of the Kanye music? Online, that has been getting a lot of hate. People are saying the music just didn't fit, and I don't know if that's just purely Kanye.
I think it's Kanye's fault.
Most things
I don't think it sounded that bad, or
Yeah.
it didn't time up with some of the action.
Mm-hmm.
I think just people hate Kanye.
Yeah, I get that.
I don't blame them.
Yeah.
How about this cast, though?
It's a solid. It's not beyond the ones that I mentioned. Go ahead and list off a couple more.
We got Jeremy Irons, Brendan Gleeson, Michael Kenneth Williams from The Wire, and that's all I see.
Yeah, no, it's an action-packed cast, and both, like, I think I talked about it a while back. There's a lot of Oscar nominees, and there's a couple Oscar winners in this film already. So
some Emmys too, I think.
Yeah, so definitely going to be interesting going forward. As far as Fassbender's concerned, I like seeing him in the blockbuster film, like in something besides the X-Men movies.
Yeah,
I'm not a huge fan of his arcing of the X-Men films. I like the older ones from when we were a little bit younger, like X-Men and X2.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't really like any of the actors that act in the X-Men movies right now.
Nope. I mean, excluding Jackman, I don't love any of them.
Yeah, they're all kind of, I mean, they could be anyone else, and I'd be okay with watching them.
Yeah, and granted, James and I, we have not seen X-Men Apocalypse yet, but as I'll talk about a little bit later, the news on the internet and the reviews that have already come in have said that the acting is not very good in the film, particularly Jennifer Lawrence, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah. I have to admit, though, watching this trailer, the parkour element popped out, and I'm currently watching The Office again on Netflix, and all I could think of is the episode where Michael Scott and all the other guys are running around the office like, parkour, and they're jumping off of desks and stuff like that, and like rolling over stuff and just yelling parkour. So watching this trailer, I was smiling the entire time, not particularly because of the trailer.
I was so sad when Steve Carell left.
Yeah, it was a rough moment. Although I'm not gonna lie, I don't hate the final 2 seasons or whatever of it that it is.
No, they just weren't the same.
Yeah, no,
they were still good. There just was something missing.
Mm-hmm.
Our next trailer is The Accountant, starring Ben Affleck, which is a forensic accountant unhooks the books for illicit clients.
Yeah, The Accountant. I saw this trailer when it first broke, and I was amazed. I'd read about it on IMDb, especially because on our website, www.ihbpodcast.com, you can find an article where I talk about Ben Affleck's actor profile. I list his top 3 performances, his top 3 worst performances, and I give a little bit of background on him, plus talk about what he's doing next and what I think he should do next. And from now on, I just think he should make these movies, because this trailer was badass.
I agree. It looked really cool. Ben Affleck being Matt Damon is great.
I heard people talking about it, and it feels like a combination of so many different movies. Like, it feels almost like Good Will Hunting 2 and stuff like that, where Ben Affleck is the genius.
But a little backstory: Good Will Hunting, they wanted to make Will Hunting's character like a kind of like a superhero.
Really?
Yeah, more like a Jason Bourne character that was really good with numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget who told them, but someone in Hollywood told them to just get rid of that part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this could be that part.
It feels a little bit like it, yeah. In my head, I see it as a combination of George Clooney's The American, Jason Bourne, and Matchstick Men. That con man movie with Nicolas Cage, who has OCD. like it felt like those were just all mashed together in this beautiful movie. I really liked the trailer.
Yeah, how about the cast?
Yeah,
a lot of big names in this one.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Anna Kendrick, John Bernthal, J.K. Simmons, John Lithgow, Jeffrey Tambor, and Allison Wright.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of big names in this movie. Let's start off with Ben Affleck. Doesn't say a word throughout the trailer. Haunting.
Doesn't need to.
No.
It was perfect.
No, the idea that his character, from the scenes that show him as a young child, it appears that he might have some like neurological issues that are causing him to have some social issues, and that has basically turned him into the perfect accountant / assassin, because he is just able to focus on these insane details, which you see throughout, like when he's eating his breakfast, or it's just like pancakes and he's moving certain things a little bit. I thought it was really cool to see that, and brought a level of sophistication to what could be just another action film.
I agree. It was definitely a good choice to have him just seem like a different character instead of him just be I don't want to say a jock, but more of a badass the entire trailer.
Yeah. What do you think of Anna Kendrick for the movie?
I don't know. Is she supposed to bring humor? Because I feel like that's what she usually brings.
Mm-hmm. And it's a tough question because, I mean, only from the trailer, and I can't even remember if this was clarified as a teaser trailer. I know it's not very long, maybe 2 minutes. You can't really tell what her character is supposed to do. My biggest fear is I got two impressions from it. I got the impression of Leon the Professional. She felt a little bit like Natalie Portman's character in that movie, where like she could be trained to be the next assassin.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they really alluded to that, or I just hadn't to put that out there in my own brain. Because you can find on our website, www.ihbpodcast.com, Natalie Portman's actor profile, in which I talk about Leon the Professional. But back to the accountant. Or the other way she could go is, I don't want her to be the love interest. She's too young. And
she's too small.
That as well, because Batfleck is huge.
He's like 6'4".
Yeah, and after he's got all that Batman muscle on him, like, dude is jacked. But she's just too young, and it's one of those issues that Hollywood has. You can have like a 50-year-old dude whose love interest is a 25-year-old girl in these movies. Like, age-appropriate people, come on.
Yeah, it's overdone. It's getting weird.
Yeah, and I'm not saying the movie's going to do that, but, I mean, you have a pretty girl in a movie with a socially awkward man. Odds are there's probably going to be a love interest there. She's going to be the one to break him out of his shell. But you can't because he's Batman.
And how about John Bernthal coming off of Daredevil?
Yeah, as his run as the Punisher. So that'll be certainly interesting to see. What if this is just Zack Snyder screwing with us? Like, he really directed The Accountant, and it's just like Batman's Bruce Wayne just going around killing people. Because, Batman does that in Zack Snyder's world. You're an asshole, Zack Snyder. All right, let's go on to our next story. Monumental potential news in the casting world, as the Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman, who is getting his own standalone film in 2018, might be adding two very popular and talented actors. Michael B. Jordan and Lupita Nyong'o are now rumored to be joining the cast. Nyong'o as the love interest, potentially, of Boseman, and Michael B. Jordan in an undescribed role, but there's a lot of rumors that he could be playing a villain.
If he plays a villain, any idea who it is?
Black Panther, his villains aren't the best known. We saw his biggest villain already in Age of Ultron, played by Andy Serkis, Ulysses S. Claw, the guy who gets his arm chopped off by Ultron. Spoilers. So it's not going to be him, and there's rumors that Serkis will be back for this film. But I did a little bit of research, and some of the people that I could see B. Jordan playing, that's what I'm going to call him now, B. Jordan.
I like it. Michael B. Jordan, too many syllables.
Exactly. Just B. Jordan.
MBJ.
Yeah. We're going to stick with B. Jordan.
All right. I tried.
It's all right. I came up with a nickname for our followers. They're now the IH Believers.
Holy crap.
Yeah, I know it's awful, right? But it's their fault. If they don't come up with something better, that's all I'm going to call them. It's their fault.
I missed a lot, didn't I?
You really did. Don't let me go off by myself. Next thing you know, this podcast is going to be called like Dom. And where occasionally Jim shows up.
Yeah, that'll be good.
But no, some potential characters that he could play. The main one that I'm hearing rumors about is a character called White Wolf, who, if you can't tell by the name, is the semi-arch nemesis of the Black Panther. Get it? White Wolf, Black Panther.
Marvel does love their colors.
Yes, they do. And he is the older adopted brother of Boseman. It's comics, that's what happens. Or the other one, which I think is potentially better, is a guy named Eric Killmonger. He's got an actual comic name too. I don't remember it off the top of my head. He's described as a warrior genius who was forced out of Wakanda as a child because his father attempted a revolution against the Black Panther's father. So that could be really interesting.
I like that better than the stepbrother. It just feels like Thor.
Yes, yeah, that's a good point. And the other thing to note is, at one point in the comics, Eric Killmonger teams up with Ulysses S. Claw, who is Andy Serkis.
Which makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
We just brought that full circle.
We really did. It's also an awesome name, Eric Killmonger.
Yeah, it fits too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd expect that name in the jungle.
Yeah, so I hope these rumors are true. What do you think?
Anything Michael B. Jordan does, I'm okay with.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of him playing a villain.
Yeah,
I don't
think he's ever done so far.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I don't think we've ever seen him as a villain.
Yeah, no, the closest I think he got was in
Chronicle?
Yes, that would be the film. Although I don't think he ends up being a semi-hero in that movie. Dane DeHaan ends up being the villain in that film.
I'm still very excited for this film too, even a couple weeks after seeing the small intro from Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
I love Chadwick Boseman. I'm really liking him a lot.
Headed into Civil War, did you think about him?
I was a little weary just because of the accent, but he pulled it off. And Lupita Nyong'o is great in everything she does.
Yeah, I mean, she's an Academy Award winner.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's going to be interesting. Apparently, Disney/Marvel has been circling her for a while. I mean, she's in the Disney machine. She's been in a few different movies for them. Most recently, she was in Jungle Book.
Star Wars.
Yes, and Star Wars as well. She was sought after for a role in Thor Ragnarok. I assume she would have just played some alien version who is either the love interest of Thor or possibly the Hulk. But I like her much more in this film. I think this is perfect for her, especially because I don't see her playing that damsel in distress. I think she'll be a strong character.
I hope so.
Yeah. Plus, Jordan reteaming with Ryan Coogler.
Yeah, that's great news.
Yeah, I know you're a huge fan of Fruitvale Station. Creed is the reason that we're currently sitting here because that's what made me start this podcast.
Great movie.
Yeah, it really was. So I'm looking forward to it.
I'm thoroughly impressed Marvel's able to get all these Oscar winners.
I mean, their movies just made $10 billion in 9 years.
But still, I mean, to get a lot of Oscar winners is impressive.
Yeah, it is.
Because superhero movies used to have that tag of something to do.
Yeah,
to get a paycheck.
They used to have a stink on them, and it used to be if you got cast in a superhero film, you got typecast for the rest of your career. Now people are doing so many different things. It's fun to see that. And what do you think about the fact that Marvel has now stolen another Human Torch from Fox? Chris Evans famously was the first Human Torch back in the first film in the early 2000s, and now they're taking Johnny Storm 2.0 from the latest awful Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I hope they stop making Fantastic Fours. They really just can't do it right.
Yeah, I mean, if he's going to be in Black Panther, odds are they're probably not going to shoot another one at the same time, so.
I hope not.
Yeah. Don't worry, we'll get another reboot.
I'm sure.
Fox will not lose those rights.
No. They should just give them up.
All right. And much like the last couple of segments I mentioned, go to www.ihbpodcast.com to read my article, Why You Should Be Excited for Black Panther.
The Hollywood Reporter has stated that Warner Brothers is moving forward with a Margot Robbie-led spin-off movie for Harley Quinn, despite the fact Suicide Squad is still months away. Rumors have said that other female heroes and villains could be involved with the film, including Batgirl and other Birds of Prey members.
Super excited about this. A little bit of hate online because people are saying, like, you're greenlighting this movie before Suicide Squad even comes out, especially because all the talk going into Batman vs Superman was, oh, how great this movie is and stuff like that, and then it kind of fell flat for people, so people are worried about that happening with Suicide Squad.
Well, did Zack Snyder or Jesse Eisenberg touch Suicide Squad?
No, to my knowledge, this movie has not been Eisenberg.
Yeah, so I think it'll be fine.
Yeah. Super interesting. Supposedly Margot Robbie brought this to Warner Brothers herself and was like, hey, I got really into the character when I was doing my research and fell in love with the other female superhero / villains, and I think a spin-off standalone movie would be great.
She looks like she's having fun in those trailers.
She does. And it's a great role. She was made for this role. She is. Yeah, every perfect. Trailer, she's looked so good. She's looked like the focus of the film. So I'm looking forward to it. I don't really have anything bad to say. Some of the things that people might not know about from that read, because the Birds of Prey aren't a super well-known line of comics. It's essentially an all-female group of heroes who fight crime together. They're a compilation from other different comic books. So some members include the Black Canary, Batgirl, Huntress, and Lady Blackhawk. Those are 4 main characters, and Harley Quinn obviously is a big part of that as their main foil and at times their ally in certain stories. We do know who Batgirl is, though, thanks to some release news about Batman vs Superman. Jenna Malone has been cast as Barbara Gordon. She was in a deleted scene in one of those futuristic nightmares that gets cut, and you can see her briefly in Batman vs Superman, but all you can see is like the red hair. So we know who Batgirl is.
Interesting.
Potentially. I mean, I suppose if DC wanted to, they could recast and not know, and nobody else would know. But I think she's a good choice for Batgirl. What would you want to see from a Harley Quinn spinoff movie?
I kind of want to see an origin story.
I think we might get that in Suicide Squad. Because in the trailers, they've shown a couple of scenes where she's normal. And that whole thing where Joker's in the first teasers, like, I'm not going to kill you. I'm just going to hurt you really, really bad.
Well done.
I thought so. I was pretty proud of it. So there's potential we could see an origin story in Suicide Squad. But at the same time, hers is not an extremely long one. Essentially, she was a therapist at Arkham who treats the Joker, and Joker slowly and systematically drives her mad and has her fall in love with him.
Okay.
So it's tough to stretch that out over too long. So I'm not crazy about the idea of an origin story.
Okay. If we don't get an origin story, then I think it needs to be her just being a badass.
Yeah.
And causing mayhem, like the Joker would, but in female form.
Yeah. What I want to see is, I would love to see a team up of her and Poison Ivy. I'm a huge fan of the animated series that was popular in the late 90s, early 2000s-ish. And in those, some of my favorite episodes are where Harley Quinn teams up with Poison Ivy. They're like best friends and live together and stuff like that. And I would absolutely love to see a good version of Poison Ivy on screen. We got the shitty Uma Thurman version. I'd love to see a good version.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And you know who I'd cast?
Of course. Scarlett Johansson.
Yes, actually I would, but she's not going to do it because she's all wrapped up in Scarlet Witch, obviously. She's the perfect casting.
Not Scarlet Witch.
Black Widow. Black Widow. Whatever.
Hey, so one time I get to correct you on a comic book.
There are just so many colors and animals and people. Like, come on, help us out a little bit. Make something easy. Just call somebody Alex. I would like to see the girl who played Ygritte in Game of Thrones. She was last seen in The Last Witch Hunter.
Okay. I'm okay with that.
Rose Leslie. I think she could be a killer, pun intended, Poison Ivy. I think she's got that air of sexiness to her. She can play sexy, but at the same time is strong, and she's already got red hair, so.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool if they went with a more of a no-name actress.
Yeah.
It's just, I think it works out better for them.
I think, no, that's a good idea. Like, I think it could work. It's just, as long as they can pull off that strong yet sexy, like, you worry about because people being like, oh, like they say it with Harley Quinn, she's dressed in a provocative manner, and they're like, well, you have to put her in hot pants. The character uses the hot pants. Like, she's not like a slut or anything like that. Like, when you try to slut shame Harley Quinn, she does these things on purpose because she knows she can manipulate people.
Yeah.
So, and that's what was one of the great things about Poison Ivy. She's not flirting in order to get with somebody. She does it out of purpose, and she knows it's a weapon. So, all right, on to the next topic. For fans of shitty movie news, Paramount took to Instagram yesterday to announce the title and casting for the next installment of the Transformers franchise. The title will be, wait for it, Transformers: The Last Night. And it will have returning actor Mark Wahlberg as Cade Yeager, and Isabella Moner has been cast as the female lead. And to show you the insane creativity of the writers, her character's name is Isabella.
Holy crap.
Yup. Although they spelled it with a Z. They did spell it with a Z.
Because everyone sees their spelling on screen.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on the title and the actors?
My thoughts are I didn't even put this on my computer to look at it. I don't
For
care.
the record, we have a lot of topics to talk about today, and James was totally in favor of cutting this story.
Yes. No one cares.
People care. The last one made $1 billion. Did they sell out to the major companies around the world and just turn it into a giant advertising moment for the last hour? Sure, but hey, that's Michael Bay for you.
I just don't understand. I mean, I get it. People, please don't go see this movie. Because we're just going to get a 10th and 15th movie, and we don't need it. They need to stop making Michael Bay Transformers.
Yeah. I hate the title. The Last Night sounds so gimmicky and video game-like to me. Like, I expect a Transformers video game to be called Transformers: The Last Night. Great title for a video game. Movie-wise, not good.
They didn't really look up their thesaurus when they tried to figure out.
They did not. No. I mean, Dark of the Moon and Revenge of the Fallen. I actually like those titles. I thought they were creative and
they're
worked
not bad.
well. But in this one, it just feels so like,
honestly, The Last Night just feels like another Batman movie.
Kind of. Although I'm not gonna lie, if it was Batman: The Last Night, I would like it. I'm not like maybe it's just my bias towards Batman, but
yeah, no, that'd be great if it was a Batman movie. But this isn't a Batman movie. That's why I have a problem with it.
Other problem I have, the girl that I mentioned,
Isabella.
Yeah, she's only 15, 16. She's a Nickelodeon star. First of all, doesn't say much for her acting ability because I don't expect much from her going into her first major film, but. What is she going to be like another Shia LaBeouf? Like Bumblebee's going to attach to her, and that's going to be her Transformer, or she can't be playing a romantic interest, right? Like, that's creepy.
Unless there's another 15 or 16-year-old in the film.
Yeah, I mean, and in Transformers 4, they did spend about 5.5 minutes explaining why a 20-year-old was legally allowed to have sex with a 17-year-old. That's in the movie, people. Like he pulls out a laminated card saying, "I'm allowed to have sex with your daughter." Creepy.
Yeah. Please don't go see this movie.
Other news, Josh Duhamel was cast in this film. He's going to be returning from his first... He was in the first 3 movies, not in it for the 4th. Now returning. I actually like that, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I thought he did a good job in the first 3. He plays like cookie cutter military action hero, but it worked.
Yeah, but I mean...
Like his storyline was never the one I had a problem with, because his is like, okay, we have these alien threats. Let's shoot them. They're shooting back. Oh my God, let's not die.
Yeah, it's a very dry, normal character. Yeah. And was it bad to say I think he does it well?
No, it's a compliment. Like, hey, everybody's got their thing.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
All right, I think that's enough time on Transformers: The Last Night.
Probably too much time. According to the tracking board, Jennifer Lawrence is being sought to join the female-led spinoff of Ocean's 11. alongside Sandra Bullock. Rumors have it that Lawrence would play the right-hand woman to Bullock's a la Brad Pitt to George Clooney. The film would also reteam the young star, her Hunger Games director, Gary Ross. Olivia Milch is set to write the script. Dominator. Yay or nay?
I actually like this casting.
So do I.
And trust me, I am knee deep into that Jennifer Lawrence fatigue that is kind of going around. I did not see Joy because I had no interest in seeing her on screen.
I'm sick of her doing David O. Russell films.
Yeah, a little bit. So, and I didn't like her in First Class. I didn't like her in Days of Future Past. And I have a feeling I'm not going to like her in X-Men Apocalypse because
she doesn't want to do the movies. Yeah. We know. I mean,
everything I've heard is she is just mailing in that performance. Like, there's no emotion involved whatsoever.
Yeah.
This feels like something she wants to do. Plus, you're going to team her up with one of the best actresses in Hollywood, hardest working, great producer, Sandra Bullock. So she's not going to mail this in. Like,
she seems like a great human being too.
Yeah, she really does.
Adopted child, I think, from Africa.
Yeah, lives in Texas, doesn't live in Hollywood.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Good for you, Sandra Bullock. Good for you. We're just two kids sitting in Cleveland, Ohio with like 4 people listening to us. But we want you to know that we support what you do.
You're doing a great job.
Oh, God. How awesome would it be if she like showed up one day like, hey, I heard you guys liked what I do. Here's a muffin basket.
Dude, even just an email would tickle me pink.
Yeah, but no, I love the idea of Lawrence being in this film. And I actually love the idea that she's going to be the Brad Pitt character.
Yeah, I think that's a smart move. Yeah. I think she can be that Brad Pitt the entire time. As long as she's eating something in almost every scene, I think it'll really work.
That would be a really cool homage. And I'm hearing that this isn't a spin-off in the way that like the Ghostbusters spin-off is doing. It's not. This movie takes place in the same universe as the normal Ocean's 11, and in fact, Sandra Bullock is supposed to be George Clooney's sister.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah, some people are saying they don't like it because it shrinks the universe. One of those things.
Screw them. I don't care.
Because these movies, they've never really been about like, I don't want to say realism, because the way they pull off most of the heists is very unique and interesting, and I like it, but. Like, they're not afraid to make fun of themselves. Like Brad Pitt eating in every scene of Ocean's 11. Mm-hmm. Like, in Ocean's 12, when Julia Roberts plays Julia Roberts. Yeah. In 13, when they do certain things like, oh, the nose plays. Like, yeah. They're not afraid to make fun of themselves, and I love that idea. Plus, it opens this movie up to to cameos from Clooney and Brad Pitt, so I think that's awesome.
Yeah, like you said, I love the idea of this not being like the Ghostbusters. I mean, this is definitely a film that I want remade with women. I think it's a smart move. Mm-hmm. I just hope it's more Ocean's 11 and not so much 12 and 13, because I thought Ocean's 11 was a lot better than both those.
Mm-hmm. I definitely want it to be more Ocean's 11. I like Ocean's 13. I do not like 12. I like Ocean's 13. I thought they went a little bit too grandiose, like simulating an earthquake for a casino. But overall, I like the feel of 13. It felt like it got back to what 11 did, but I can't agree with you more. On to our next story, and this is going to be a quick one, just a little snippet of news for you guys. We've talked about in the past Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart signing on for the Jumanji movie. Well, now, according to The Rock's official Instagram or Facebook page, Jack Black has signed on to join Jumanji. Thoughts?
I'm actually okay with this.
Yeah?
I feel like Jack Black is very similar to Robin Williams.
Yeah, and I mean, he's making a comeback.
Goosebumps
was a major hit last year.
Yeah, it did well. I actually watched it in Spanish.
Yeah?
Interesting. It's not the same with different voices.
I assume so. Jack Black, his voice is very unique, and those Scooby Baps probably didn't translate great into Spanish.
No, they don't.
So, yeah. Take that as you will, run with it, find out some more information if you want to. No information has been given on who exactly he's playing yet, but certainly is an interesting cast going forward.
No matter what your thoughts were on Batman vs. Superman, the DC Extended Universe continues to move forward, but possibly not with the villain you were expecting. A report from birth.movies.death has said the Big Bad Justice League Part 1 could be the creature monster new god Steppenwolf, who was briefly viewed in a deleted scene where Lex enters the Kryptonian ship released shortly after the film premiered. I just watched this clip. It's really short. It's about 45 seconds, and it looks creepy. I don't understand Steppenwolf at all. I have no idea who he is.
Yeah, no,
Please explain.
He is a deep cut of DC comic books.
The first cut's always the deepest.
Yeah, well, this is a really deep one. He is the uncle, I believe. No, please, no comic book nerd, don't quote me on that one. I know he's related somehow to Darkseid, who is the ultimate big bad of the DC universe, the one who has been alluded to in Batman vs. Superman with the Omega symbol in the ground and the parademons coming in Batman's dreams. So everybody thought going into Justice League, Darkseid's the bad guy. But now they're saying it could be Steppenwolf, who is kind of like a lieutenant to Darkseid. Because the way it works is, in DC, there are 2 worlds beyond Earth. Multiple worlds beyond Earth, but these 2 are some of the biggest ones. There's Genesis and there's Apocalypse. The good new gods live on Genesis. The bad gods live on Apocalypse, ruled by Darkseid.
Makes sense.
Yes, and then all of these guys are immortal, have super strength, super speed, super reflexes, and Steppenwolf is like a military genius. That's why he's a lieutenant or general of part of Darkseid's army. So the idea of him being a big bad, to me, while interesting, I suppose, this early on, I don't know why they're going with that deep of a cut. I thought Darkseid was perfectly fine to be the big bad of part 1 and part 2. I just suppose maybe they're setting it up to where the Justice League can actually win in part 1. Because you assume in, say, take Marvel, for example, in the soon-to-be retitled Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2, Part 1's going to end with the Avengers kind of in shambles. Like, you assume they're going to get their ass kicked at the end of it. Yeah. And then they're going to come back together in Part 2 and they're going to win. So the only thing I can think of is for this, in Part 1, they're like, okay, this is the first time we're getting these guys all together. They have to win this fight. And then Darkseid's going to show up at the end and be like, Omega beam, bitches.
End of world.
End of life.
Close.
He does have the anti-life equation. So
that sounds pretty intimidating.
Yeah, but that's Darkseid, like I said, not Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf's a little brokeback bitch. So, given what I've just said to you, what are your thoughts?
That's a lot of info.
A little bit. Hopefully I didn't just kill half our audience with my insane comic book.
No, I'm sure there's a couple listening still.
Yeah.
Like 2.
Yay. Rodrigo and Rebecca listen to it. They talk about the comic book stuff when they email in.
They do. That they do. It'll be interesting to see what they actually do. If they have the Justice League sort of win in the first one. Mm-hmm. Or if they just did this whole Steppenwolf thing to fuck with you. I don't know.
That's the other thing. It's from a site that I don't recognize. I have no idea that these guys are credible. They could just be totally pulling it out their ass. But there are a lot of other credible sites that are reporting on these reports. So, who knows? It could be just a major distraction. And Warner Bros. Yeah, no, let them think that way. Because it's totally not going to be.
I think Zack Snyder's doing. He's just pissed at the world for hating his movie. So he's going to do anything to piss people off.
Yeah, I mean, that's a definite possibility. For the record, the New Gods were created by Jack Kirby. Got to give a shout out to the original comic book creator. Those are our thoughts on it. I think they should just go full on with Darkseid. But hey, do what you want. It's not my movie.
Should be, but it's not.
Continuing on with the Batman vs. Superman theme, The Hollywood Reporter has said that even more shakeup is coming for DC and Warner Brothers, as famed comic book writer and DC Chief Creative Officer Jeff Johns is set to take a larger creative role for the entire DC Extended Universe. Along with Warner Brothers executive John Berg, the two will oversee all of the DC movies coming out after Batman vs. Superman and Suicide Squad. Given yet more shakeups for the company, what are your thoughts on the change, and does it inspire excitement or fear?
I'm a little confused. They're already jumping ship with what they initially had?
Essentially. The movie slate is still there. The overall theme is still there, but they're bringing in more
like the leaders.
Yeah, they're much like adding Ben as an executive producer to Justice League. They're essentially hoping that Jeff Johns and John Berg will take over the Kevin Feige role from Marvel, who oversees everything with their movies. And like John, he's a great storyteller. He's a great comic book writer. He did some of the best Green Lantern work that's ever been done. He was recently doing Justice League. He had a great run with them. I really love his books. And he is currently co-writing the Batman standalone film with Ben Affleck.
Okay. I like that. That's good. I am feared that they're changing this already, but I'm excited that it's not going to end up like Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah, and Johns has come out and saying that there'll be a bit of a lighter tone now with his writing has a lighter tone, so that'll help things, I think. As far as John Berg, I'm not too familiar with him. I think he's a behind the scenes guy. He's an executive, and from what I hear, he was crucial in getting Ben Affleck on board, and he had a big part to play in Argo getting made. So if that's true,
I'm sure they've got a good relationship.
Yeah, I think it's a positive step, to be honest. I don't, as much as it should strike fear in me that like, holy shit, they're jumping ship. They're just changing all of this. They're abandoning the plan. I think these guys are smart enough. They know that like they can't just straight up abandon what's going on.
There's too much already invested.
Yeah. They're going to have a plan. It'll shift in some areas, and other areas it won't. And they're going to make a good film.
Does the tone really need to be lighter in the next film? I mean, I was okay with the darker tone of the film. I just didn't like the casting and some of the choices they made. I don't know if that changes the tone of the film.
Well, I mean, John's obviously is a comic book guy, so I think that'll definitely help. Like, some of the changes probably won't be made under him. But I don't think he mainly is talking about the tone. I think it'll still be darker, but I think I could see it being a little bit more like Civil War. 'Cause Civil War is a dark film, but
darker than what other Marvel movies are, for sure.
But it's not all the time. Nobody's brooding 24/7, stuff like that.
Okay.
And at the same time, it just might be just from a filmmaking perspective, they might try to brighten things up. So.
I mean, I'm still excited to see the movies. I think that the characters are too important to lose out on.
Let us know what your guys' thoughts are. Does this shake up at Warner Brothers inspire fear, or are you now weary going into the next DC film, which is Suicide Squad? So I doubt you're really that worried about it because that movie looks bonkers still. But Wonder Woman comes out, and then you got Aquaman after that, and then the
Flash.
Flash won't be until after Justice League.
Okay.
So let us know what your guys' thoughts are. You can hit us up on Twitter at IHB Podcast, on Facebook, which is the I've Had Better Podcast page, or just hit us up on our website at www.ihbpodcast.com. Let's try something new. Okay, we talked about a lot of stories today. Of everything we talked about, trailers and all, what story are you most intrigued by, and which one are you most who cares?
All right, well, we can go with the one who cares first, because I think everyone knows. Transformers, I could care less about. The most intrigued, I think, is, I want to say that the DC Universe shakeup that they got. I wanted to go The Accountant initially, but I feel like it's going to be a great movie, but it's not extending anything. It's going to be like a one and done film, maybe, at best.
Yeah, I don't see it becoming a franchise.
No. But the DC Universe, I think, is interesting because it's going to be multiple films, and I love all the characters that they have in it already.
Yeah, that makes sense. For me, my one that is most throwaway is definitely the Transformers. As much as it hurts me, because I love Transformers, I really do.
First two movies were awesome.
I spent so much money on the toys growing up, and Optimus is my boy, but until Michael Bay leaves the franchise, I'm gonna see it. I'll probably see it opening weekend.
For the fans, of course.
For me, I'm not even gonna lie.
You have to tell people that.
But yeah, that's my throwaway. And the one I'm most intrigued by is the potential of Michael B. Jordan and Lupita Nyong'o in Black Panther.
That's another good one.
Yeah, I think that casting is spot on. I love the idea of B. Jordan as a villain, and the idea of him teaming up with Coogler again. Coogler in general just intrigues me because he's got such this firm grasp on what the social aspect of these movies are. Like Fruitvale Station sent a message. Creed sent a message in a way. Well, not like super heavy-handed, but it still talked about the idea of like infidelity amongst your parents, growing up in a semi-foster home, and then getting to a point in your life where you're well off, but still not being satisfied within because you don't know if you're good enough. Mm-hmm. So I love Creed. I think Ryan Coogler is going to become a mega star when it comes to directing, and I would love to see what he can do with the potential social issues in Black Panther.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a great film. I mean, Marvel, they really got lucky with the young actors they have on this already.
Yeah. All right, so those are my and James's most interesting and most disappointing stories we talked about today. Let us know what your guys' top stories are. As we do our outro, we'll give you the information on where to contact us. I want to thank you all for tuning in. If you enjoyed the show, please like this episode and subscribe to the I've Had Better Podcast page. Also, follow us on Twitter at IHB Podcast, and on Facebook, go like the I've Had Better Podcast page. James, tell the people where to find you, and don't forget to mention where you were in Wakanda last Wednesday when you were on that super secret top level mission.
What did you just say? Am I the Black Panther?
Essentially, yes. I may have alluded to the idea that you were in Wakanda on Wednesday.
I'll take it. All right, guys. I'm on Twitter at _Kaiser_Soze, or on Facebook as Jimmy Langos. And don't forget to check out our website, www.ihbpodcast.com. And please like and listen to our iTunes account.
Yes, and you can find that by just going to iTunes and typing in I've Had Better Podcast. That'll pop right up for you. We're up to 10 episodes on that puppy now. So 11 after this one airs. So that's pretty exciting. Subscribe to that. Leave a review. Give us 5 stars as always because it really helps. And with that being said, I am Dominic Demore. You can follow me on Twitter at Dom Demore. That's DOMDEMORE. Or on Facebook at Dominic Demore. James, how was your show today?
I've had better.
Good night, everybody.